What's up, everyone? We are back, episode 5 of the Minnesota Twins Out of the Park Baseball 24 playthrough. We're here October 13th, 2024, and we finished the season 93-69. That is good for first place in the division, and I believe, yes, we got a first round bye. We actually had the best record in the AL. That's crazy. As you can see, a couple teams in the NL passed us: Braves, Mets, and Dodgers. So yeah, we get the first round bye, and we get to play Houston, I guess. We finished 87-75. Pretty good offense, and looks like their pitching's pretty solid too. So yeah, I mean, it's not too dissimilar from real life Houston, but wow, this guy's pretty good. Evan Carter, got him out in center, and then the 2 through 5 is pretty familiar, and then Pena, Vasquez, who we traded to them. Looks like he had a pretty decent year, about the same as he did with us. But yeah, I still think we won that trade. Yordan Alvarez out for the series. That's huge. Like to see that. So yeah, we suffered a pretty big injury down the stretch. It was about 2 or 3 weeks ago. Zach Wheeler went down, pitched about an inning, and got hurt. So he's out for 3 more weeks. That puts his return in like the if we make the World Series type thing. So that sucked. So as you can see, Bailey Ober actually stepped in the rotation, did a really good job down the stretch for us. So he's going to get a playoff start here, surprisingly enough. Cole Henry also made a start and an appearance down the stretch, and he was pretty good. So he makes the playoff team as a reliever, multi-inning guy. I mean, he's got good ratings, so I like what we got there. And then, Pablo Lopez, Joe Ryan, also going to slide in there, mostly because we have no other options at this point. I mean, they had okay seasons. When I dropped down their, amount of innings I want them to pitch, they did a lot better. So I'm keeping all these guys on a 90-pitch count for the playoffs, except Nola. He gets to go a little farther. For the lineup, we could just go over how guys played this year, I guess. So Matt Wallner was our best guy according to WRC+, 137. Had a massive season. Really, solidified himself in this lineup. So he's not going anywhere. We still got him for a ton of years, 26 years old. Our best guy according to WAR was Carlos Correa. Huge season. Just as good as last year, I'd say, overall. I mean, a little worse fielding, I think. Yeah, he didn't quite have the insane glove he had last year, but a really good season for him. Brooks Lee, of all people, a guy who kind of like DJ LeMahieu'd his way on the team, where he was kind of going to be a utility guy. And then I couldn't keep him out of the lineup, and he started 125 games, played in 145, and just WRC+ 131. And he wasn't horrible over at third or anywhere he played. So yeah. I don't know if I mentioned this in the last video, but he's taken over third. I dropped the Royce Lewis experiment. He was so bad, and I just couldn't keep trotting him out there. So he was relegated to fully bench role. I didn't even have him backing up anywhere. Braden Shoemake, but on the other hand, had a really good season. He was my backup infielder for a lot of the year, and yeah, he's gonna be out there. I think maybe replacing Polanco on defense. Polanco's really no good over there anymore. So I'll probably plug him in as a defensive replacement. And then for other guys who performed well this year, it was a lot of hitters. So Byron Buxton wound up playing in 112 games for us and had a monster season, much better than last year. And we had a little bit of a scare at the end of the year. The last game of the season, he went down with an injury, and it took a couple days to see what it was. And thankfully, it was a strained lat. He missed 3 days, and he's back. He's good for the first game of the playoffs. So, yeah, that was pretty terrifying because he got hurt. I think it was 2-1. But yeah, he played almost the full game, and it was a meaningless game. So that was just stupid for me playing him. Jorge Polanco had a really nice season. 25 bombs. Pretty much the same as last year. I think he was better. He definitely was more consistent throughout the year. So, yeah, he had a really nice season. He has a team option. Not sure what I'm going to do with that. I'll probably accept it. But, Yeah, I definitely accept that. Andrew Stevenson, of all people, a guy who was kind of the last guy to make the team, 290 average, 114 WRC plus, 121 OPS plus. Not sure what the discrepancy there is, but yeah, he had a monster season, mostly facing righties, and, he crushed righties and lefties for the most part in 23 at-bats. So, yeah, he was huge for us. I would honestly love to keep him around as that platoon guy on the left side to go along with Matt Gorski, who he faded toward the end, but as you saw at the midseason, he had a good season, really good season for being a Rule 5 guy. And he hit lefties much better than he hit righties. And yeah, he'll have a spot on this team next year. Probably going to do the same thing with him and Stevenson, I'd say, in left, because that worked out well. And we're going to have to replace this guy, Max Kepler, who had a really nice season as well. 3.4 WAR, played a ton of center field for us. Actually played more center than right. Because Buxton went down a couple times, then I was DHing Buxton for a little bit to keep him healthy. That didn't really work, but yeah, he replaced him pretty valiantly and had a nice season at the plate. And he's my leadoff hitter against righties in the playoffs. So let's see what else we got here. We went through him. Jose Miranda picked it up at the end. Still a pretty disappointing season after he won a Silver Slugger last year. Yeah, 85 WRC plus ain't gonna cut it. Played a good first base, but yeah, it's a disappointing year. He'll have another chance, but just pretty weary about that. And my catching duo was pretty terrible offensively. Zanino was off to a really good start. Went to finishing with a 39 WRC plus. So, the mirage at the beginning of the year was probably legit. If we go through I guess by month, first 2 months he was crushing it. 131, 119, that's solid, and then completely fell off the face of the earth. I didn't realize how bad it was. I would have taken him out, but I didn't realize he was negatives, and his max WRC plus for the month was 25 for the last 4 or so. So yeah, he's not started in the playoffs. I gave it to Tomas Nido, who was a huge upgrade at 58 WRC plus. But at least he was respectable at the plate. He wasn't just a complete black hole the last couple of months. He actually had a couple of good months, so especially in October and August. So we'll see with him. But yeah, that's our lineup. Pitching wise, insane season from Yohan Duran. Yeah, led the league in games and incredible season ERA, K to walk ratio. He was pitching insanely high leverage too. He's my closer, and I'm happy I did that this year because I'm usually hesitant with these young guys just because it boosts up their arbitration estimates. But whatever, we'll pay him when it gets to that point. So love to see that of him. Moran had a really nice season. Another one. It's back to back. So yeah, he has a spot on this team. Walks a few too many guys, but nearly identical as last year, and the results were better this year. So, Jorge Lopez had a much better season than last year. Looks like he was going a couple innings every time out there, pretty much. Lowered his whip, lowered his walk rate. Really nice season from him, and he's a free agent after the year, so we'll have to replace him. But we have some guys. Joe Mantiply, he was okay. I think he's much better than his ERA suggests, according to his strikeout to walk ratio and home runs allowed and stuff. So yeah, he's on the team. I think he had a couple blow up games in the midseason that kind of ballooned his ERA. Hernandez had another nice season for us. 2.7 ERA. Nice strikeout to walk ratio. Wasn't giving up too many homers. And yeah, he's probably in line to replace Lopez in the back end. Poche was good. About as good as he was last year for us. Just a solid, steady lefty. Hentez, he's under control for a couple more years, probably. He's auto-renew for next year for some reason. But it was a little worse for us when we got him from Cleveland. The strikeout rate went way down, but I don't really care about strikeouts with this guy. He's, keeps the ball in the ballpark. I'm okay with that. So Cole Henry talked about him, and Keegan Aiken, the all-star. Huge season for him. Love to see this out of him. And who knows, maybe he cracks the rotation next year, depending on what happens, because we're losing some guys, and yeah, we'll see. And then Bailey Ober, I think we only glanced over him. Much better in the second half for us after he was sent down for a couple games. And yeah, after all that's out of the way, let's also want to spotlight Emmanuel Rodriguez, who has been one of our top prospects for a couple of years. Made it up to AAA this season and crushed it. So the ratings aren't quite there yet. I'm not really ready to call him up, but yeah, excited for him. And we can go through the prospects in the offseason. But all right, game 1 in Minnesota against Houston. Here we go. We lose 3-1. Miranda had a couple of hits. Not really much else going on here. Nola pitched well, but wasn't quite enough to get us the win there. So game 2, we lose 5-2. Unfortunate. Stevenson has a couple of hits. Miranda keeps hitting. Looks like Polanco had a solo shot. Jorge Lopez was a little rough, and then Cole Henry does a nice job. So we have to go back to Houston in game 3. Here we go. Joe Ryan trying to keep our season alive. We win 6-2. Huge game. Stevenson's crushing it this postseason. Brooks Lee as well. And the top of the lineup finally does something. So look at that. Crazy what can happen when that happens. So Joe Ryan, a really nice start from him. And trying to keep our season alive in Houston. And we win 6-4. Buxton, 3 hits, 3 ribbies. Wallner had a couple of hits and a couple of ribbies. Miranda keeps hitting. Royce Lewis looks like he's getting a lot of pinch hits for Nito here, and he came through with a base knock, looks like. And Brooks Lee, another hit. Bailey Ober was really solid, and then the bullpen did its job. So we head back to Minnesota for Game 5. Stroman, it looks like, against Nola. And we win 4-1. We come back from being down 2-0 behind Correa, 3 RBIs. Brooks Lee had 3 hits and a ribby. Nola, an excellent start. Jorge Lopez to Duran. And wow, we escaped that. Can't say I thought we had a chance. Holy crap. And that was a good team we just played too. That's probably, just looking at their stats, they were probably like the second best team in the league. Although it looks like the Rays are pretty damn good too. Looking at their squad, they got McClanahan still, Rasmussen, Patino, Taj Bradley makes a pretty good rotation. Jalen Beeks out of the pen looks like a stud. So their bullpen ERA actually wasn't even that good. Their starters ERA was 3rd in the league, 7th in runs against. But their offense is really the highlight. 2nd in runs scored in the league, at least in the AL. Franco, Yandy Diaz, a huge season. Rosa Reina keeps hitting. And Brandon Lau, Isaac Paredes, and so on. Looks like this guy, Kyle Manzardo. I think he was like the top prospect in baseball, if I remember that. No, so he was number 9. I remember seeing him pop up in these lists and stuff. But a nice season from him. So, yeah, we will play in Minnesota in Game 1. So Nola's not really going to be available until maybe Game 3. We'll check on that, but we'll go with Lopez in Game 1 and see what we can do here. All right, so Game 1, let's do it. We win 8-2. Huge game for us. Gorski hitting against the stud McClanahan, had 2 hits and 2 ribbies. Nito, of all people, 2 hits and a ribby. Buxton looks like he had a 3-run shot. Wallner had a home run, and Miranda also had home runs. Oh, and Gorski as well. So, bigger home run game. Pablo Lopez to Poche, who was but 5 Ks. Gave us 2 2/3, and then Lopez to finish it out. So, Poche saves the pen. Let's do Game 2. Joe Ryan, and we win against Rasmussen, it looks like. So Joe Ryan, 5 1/3, 1 run to Cole Henry, who has another excellent outing this postseason. He had one against Houston as well, if you remember. To Duran to close it. So Stevenson, 2 hits, 2 ribbies. Brooks Lee, 2 hits, 2 ribbies. Nito, another hit. Polanco with a hit. Wallner, a couple walks. Correa, 3 walks. Looks like Kepler's really been struggling But he's been a little better recently, so we'll keep him up there. And we're winning, so can't complain too much. Aaron Nola is good to go. Zach Wheeler is only out another week, so that's huge. And I believe that would be I think this is the ALCS. Yeah, this is the ALCS. So, yeah, if we get past the Rays here, Wheeler could be available to pitch. So, let's do it. In Tampa Bay for 3. Game 1 in Tampa Bay. We lose 5-4. Miranda a couple hits. Gorski with looks like a pinch hit, 2-run shot. Nola wasn't great. The bullpen cleaned up. That sucks. And then we wind up losing 7-1, and Bailey Ober got hurt as well. I'll check on that in a second. Max Kepler with a couple hits. Looks like Keegan Aiken, the All-Star. I'm going to say that every time I mention Keegan Aiken, by the way. That he was an All-Star this season because just crazy. Yeah, that sucks. So we lose the game, and we lose our 4th starter for 3 weeks. He's moderate throwing influence. Yeah, I'm not even going to bother risking that because he's probably going to be ineffective. He's even out there. So, and for the spot, I don't think we really need to have another pitcher on the team. Maybe you can go Paddock, but I mean, he was really no good at the end of the year. Like I wouldn't even trust him to pitch. And yeah, he was purposely left off the roster because he was really, really bad. Let's see. I'm tempted to go with Jefferson Morales because he had a really nice year, but I don't know if he's gonna play enough. We could probably use him. Yeah, because he can. You know what? He could be like our 3rd string catcher. So at the end of the games, we could actually pinch hit twice. I don't know if they do that in this game, but we can give it a shot. So if Nito gets pinch hit for in like the 5th, Zunito can come in, or Morales can come in. He can get pinch hit for, and then we kind of have 3 catchers on the team. So, and he's a pretty good hitter too. So, I'm cool with that. Let's see if my manager can kind of figure that out. Okay, so we are tied in the series 2-2. Game 5 in Tampa. We're going to have to find... No, we shouldn't even need another starter for the series. If we do, we can figure it out. We lose 9-4. Shit. Yeah, so not a bad day offensively, but the pitching just didn't do it. Jorge Lopez kind of imploded, and, that was the game after that. So back to Minnesota for Game 6. We're down 3-2. Nola isn't quite ready to go. I'm not going to do that. Joe Ryan had a good start last time. We win 8-2. Whew. Buxton, 3 hits, 5 ribbies. Looks like he had a pair of home runs. Kepler also a home run. He's heating up a little bit. Miranda's been good. Stevenson's been good. Lee's been solid. So, yeah, Joe Ryan to Poche to Henry to close it out. So, we go to Game 7, an elimination game with Nola on the mound again. And we're going to face, let's see, Patino, who is pretty solid this year. We lose 7-1, so that's our season. The bats couldn't get it done, and the pitching was not really much better. Looks like Moran imploded, and so did Lopez to, wow. That's unfortunate. So it was, we were actually winning. Wow. We were winning 1-0 going in the top of the 8th, and then, the guys we've relied on all year, finally, it falls apart for them. So, unfortunate. Looks like Nola got hurt early. That might have cost us a little bit because, we're forced to go to the guys a little bit earlier. But, yeah, no excuse for that. That's a game we could have won. The bats didn't do much either. So, and look at that. Zach Wheeler is back. Unfortunately, he'll probably never pitch a game for us again. So, yeah, so that'll be the end of the season 2024. Pretty successful if you ask me. We went from being like I don't even know what we were last year, an 83 win team maybe. 83 wins. We underperformed a ton due to that like 1-run game thing. This year we played exactly to what we should have, The pitching improved, and I think the hitting improved as well, or at least they stayed constant. The pitching got better. So yeah, we'll head into the off season now, and we'll do this in this episode. I like to do the playoffs and off season just because there's something for everyone there. So we'll rock with the off season coming up. A lot of big moves to decide. We're going to be losing Wheeler. We're going to be losing Kepler. So we got some moves to make. So we'll be back with that in just a second for you. Okay, so really quick, I want to recap award season here. So, starting out with the Gold Gloves, we have Carlos Correa wins at shortstop. I think he got snubbed last year. Yeah, he did. Oh no, he didn't. He won last year. So Correa at short, and then Max Kepler, of all people, in center field with a -3 zone rating. I don't know if there was no one better, but yeah, he wins it out in center, so good for him. And then AL reliever of the year, no doubt, it's Duran with his 3.8 WAR, microscopic ERA, one of the all-time great relief seasons there. So rightfully, he wins reliever of the year. Silver Sluggers, Matt Wallner wins at DH. Really excellent season we talked about. Then no one else, but I mean, a lot of guys who could have been in that competition. Brooks Lee finishes second, gets a first place vote for Rookie of the Year. Yeah, I mean, I can't really argue because Diego Hernandez had a fantastic season. Although, I mean, I'm sure the 36 stolen bases had something to do with it. But, I mean, Brooks Lee was right there with him. So, anyway, that's our guy for the future. So, love to see it. I won Manager of the Year. Thank you very much. And, Nola and Wheeler got down the ballot. Cy Young votes, as did Duran as a reliever, so that's impressive. Although, I mean, can't really argue with Cole here. Insane season. I mean, maybe you could have gotten a couple first place votes, but, I mean, all these guys are really good, so whatever. Then the AL MVP was freaking crazy. No one got more than 10 first place votes. It goes to Bobby Witt. But, I mean, Carlos Correa winds up getting 6 first place votes. Finishes 4th behind Ramirez and Prado and Witt, obviously. No one really had, like, an insane year. Like, Witt had 5.4 WAR. Ramirez had 6.4. Like, nothing really too crazy. I mean, yeah, so other guys down the ballot, Matt Wallner gets 38 votes, or 38 points, or whatever you want to call it. And I think that's it. I might be missing. No, I think that's it. So yeah, then Acuna wins it in the NL if you're curious. So that wraps up that part of the offseason. I haven't offered these. These are my only 4 guys in arbitration. I seriously don't know what to do. I think Mantiply I'm going to offer. It's $1.9 million for like a really solid lefty. But after that, I mean, Keegan Aiken for $4.2 million. I know he freaking made the All-Star team, but holy crap, like, I don't know if that's worth it for like a. Maybe it is. Maybe I'm just being cheap, but I mean, we have $48 million to spend this offseason. I think I'll probably offer it to him, but can I get another guy like this? That doesn't make $4.2 million. I think I have guys like that in the minors. But I'm gonna look over that. There's a chance I trade Keegan Aiken. I already looked around. It would be like, just like it wouldn't be any big return or anything. Although maybe it should be if this was realistic. But then Poche, like, same story. Can I get a guy who gives me a 1.08 ERA plus? Because that's what he's given me the last 2 years. Can I get this guy for, league minimum instead of 2.6? And Stevenson, I didn't expect him to demand 2.4, but I don't know. So yeah, I'm gonna have to make a decision soon because salary arbitration hearings are pretty soon, and yeah, I don't want to be stuck with these guys on my team if I'm not gonna have them. So yeah, I'm going to do that off camera, and then I'll get back to you guys when I make that decision. Okay, so we have our first trade, I think, of the offseason. We are so basically what's going on here is I'm looking at my lineup, and there's a major hole at catcher. I have no catchers even on the 40-man at the moment, unless you count Jefferson Morales, which I don't. He's not really a catcher. So I'm looking at what I have of spare parts, basically. And, I mean, Royce Lewis, really nice player, in theory, of course. They say he can be an average major league starter. I would probably agree. He's played well at shortstop when he's been out there, but hasn't been good at third. He can play a little outfield. But, I mean, I think I can get a utility guy that that replaces a lot of what Royce Lewis gives. I mean, he's a leader, high work ethic. I like that a lot. Don't get me wrong. It sucks to see him go because, let me see. I want to see, there we go. Team chemistry, yeah. So he's one of two leaders on our team, along with Shoemake, who will stay here. But yeah, this trade looks like kind of a steal. So basically, we're giving up Royce Lewis and this guy Ronaldo Madrigal, who they liked a lot. 21 years old in rookie ball, didn't really do anything for me, so I'm okay giving him up, even though he looks like an okay player. And Pearson Ole, who is a 25-year-old in AA, and didn't really pitch too well. So see what we're giving up there. In return, we're getting a pretty good, incredible haul. So Daniel Veligin, I'm going to call him. Daniel Veligin. Catcher for the Cincinnati Reds. Had a decent little cup of coffee up in the majors last year for them. 24 years old. The defense isn't really there, but if he puts up a 125 WRC plus, I can get past the 55 ability. He has some good ratings too. And then we're also getting Connor Phillips, who looks like, he could potentially be a stud one day. He pitched well in, for some reason, high A and AA, whatever. He'll probably start the year in AAA for me, if not in my bullpen. Potentially a starter one day. He has 4 pitches, so I like that a lot. And then Lyon Richardson also we're going to pick up. He's a leader, high work ethic, 24 years old, almost 25. Pitched in AA and A-ball last year. Again, don't ask me. Walked a few too many guys, but 4-pitch mix with decent stuff and movement. At the very least, I think he can be a bullpen arm for me, but also possibly a starter. So we're getting 2, reliever starter, potentially pitchers, and a starting catcher for the next 5-6 years for Royce Lewis, who probably wasn't going to start for me this year, considering we have Brooks Lee and a lot of infielders, and yeah, and then a guy who couldn't hit in rookie ball as a 21-year-old, and Pearson Ole, who's a 25-year-old in AA. So Royce Lewis, the former, first overall pick in 2017, went through a lot. Finally got to play for the Twins, but didn't really work out here. He had all the opportunity in the world last season and couldn't really capitalize. So he'll go to Cincinnati, and I hope he does well there. But also, we're in a win-now position, and we need a catcher. So, boom. Sad to see Royce Lewis go, but again, do what we have to do here. So we get our starting catcher, Daniel Veligin. Eventually got it. That gives us a kind of a lot of lefties at the bottom of our order. This is kind of I was just playing around with this, but I'm not really sure what we're going to do here with the 3 lefties in a row, but I will make it work. So the rest of the offseason, we need in a 1-year backup infielder. I think Austin Martin could be that guy in the future, but he doesn't really play a good shortstop. And I like Austin Martin, but is he going to be good enough on defense to be my utility guy? I think he can probably do it for a year, but I guess we have Shoemaker who can play shortstop. We'd slide him over, and we still have Brooks Lee, who I'm going to be playing in left field tentatively at the moment, just because I like his defense better out in left for a year and then move him to second when Polanco's gone. So that's how that looks. I also had another trade Okay, so let me break down what this trade is because I did find it, at least a modified version of it. So, okay, so our team currently has $54 million to spend, $45 million for extensions. So we have a lot of money, way more than I anticipated. I think my payroll allowed is 160 million, I guess. And we don't have like a ton of salaries long term, like big ones. The only big one is Correa, and even he's done with big money after 2030. So it's not like whatever, like forever. Nola we got on a really good deal after the trade. Buxton's on a really affordable contract. Then we have nothing else really on the books guaranteed after this season besides those three. So, like Keegan Aiken, there's no way I'm going to pay him $7 million. So next year looks like a year that we can get a lot of money. Or the next 2 years, we're pretty low, and then guys start making more money with arbitration and such. So that gets a little hairy. But this deal for Max Fried, for some reason, I noticed a lot of the contracts in this game are like ridiculous. Like 5 years, $186 million. Holy crap! I know Max Fried's a good pitcher and all, but and here's the kicker: player opt out. So if he's good, we get out of all this money, but also we are giving up a lot here to pick him up and retain 45% of that deal. So we're giving up Chris Paddock, who's kind of just a salary throw in type of guy. Pretty decent pitcher, but he was pretty bad for me last year, and I could see him bouncing back, but whatever. Small price to give up. We're going to throw in Matt Gorski, who it was up between him and Drew Waters, and I like Drew Waters as like a long-term, fourth outfielder. And Gorski, I didn't really like his offensive makeup as much. I know he had a pretty decent year last year as my platoon righty, but, it's the lesser half of the platoon. Not a huge deal to me, giving him up. It was him or Waters. I kind of picked Gorski, so. Then I'm throwing in C.J. Culpepper and Giordano Perez. Giordano Perez, that's what his name is. So that gives us our second starter, which we're kind of lacking. Like, I don't really like this rotation as it is right now. I'd much rather push Joe Ryan down to the 3 spot. And Bailey Ober can't be my 3 starter going into the year. That'd be horrible. So, Fried, I don't think he's the pitcher he used to be, but he's had 2 good years in a row. Like, ERA plus of 108 after a 145. But he still put up 3.3 WAR. Doesn't walk guys. I think his game can kind of age gracefully. So we're going to get him through his 31, 32, 33, and 34-year-old seasons at about 20 mil a year or so, give or take, which might be a lot, but go out on the free agent market, and I'm not getting a pitcher like this. That guy's a whole different story. This Huang guy might look to sign him, but that's a different conversation. I'm not getting a starter like this on the free agent market. Like Glass now, 23 mil, and he's out for the whole year, essentially. Zach Wheeler wants 31 million. Walker Buehler's not a starter anymore. Carlos Carrasco, 17 mil. You can see what I'm saying. Like, pitching's expensive, and I'm picking up a guy who I know what I'm getting for about 20 mil a year, and not giving up too much. So I'm gonna pull the trigger on this trade. So we pick up Max Fried from a Atlanta team that had no money and couldn't really afford to pay him after they gave him a ill-conceived contract. So Fried will slot into my 2-hole in the rotation, and we kind of still need a 5th starter. I don't really want Keegan Aiken being my 5th going into the year. Much rather push him into the bullpen. So yeah, I was discussing very briefly this guy. Where the heck is he? Cy Wan Huang. And he wants $7 million a year for 4 years, which is very reasonable for a 23-year-old with what's my scouts say? Up near the top of any major league rotation. So along with Fried, we're going to try to pick up another lefty here. See if I can lowball him. 4 years, $6 million a year. So we're going to offer that. And for the rest of the team, I mean, we need a backup catcher. I think I'm gonna roll with Austin Martin as my backup infielder, but maybe I'll pick someone up on the cheap. I mean, if any of these guys' demands go down, I mean, I can see bringing back Max Kepler for a year. You know, Juan Soto wants a ton of money, but really not that much. 37 mil, but he's definitely, you know, past my spending allowance, I would say. But maybe like I don't know. I don't really know what we need. This team looks pretty good going into the year now. Maybe like a seventh inning guy or like a high leverage middle reliever. But I like this. Like I like this group. So yeah, we're gonna see what happens and we'll get back to you guys. All right. So I think this will be our last trade of the offseason. International free agent signing period just begun. So I want to get a little more cash in there to be able to sign some more guys, depending on what happens. But I found this trade very interesting. So I mentioned how I had a good amount of money to spend, and I didn't really know what to do with it because, I mean, the team's pretty set, and I figured why not try to pick up someone else's spare parts. So DJ LeMahieu was like easy to trade for, mostly because he has $15 million this year and next year due to him by the Yankees, and he's going to be 38 next year. So I was able to have them retain 50% of the deal for basically giving up nothing. Just two like 40-man guys who probably wasn't going to use. I mean, Severino doesn't look too bad, but yeah, these other guys are kind of just minor league filler, and I get $1.25 million international pool room money. So that's big. My first time trading for that, so I hope it pays off well. And DJ's still a good player, so a couple rough seasons, but I still believe in this bat. And you know what? He's going to play that infield utility role. So that might push Austin Martin out for another year, but this also gives us Polanco insurance after he leaves inevitably after this season. Because, yeah, I'm not going to pay him that. So we'll address that when we get there, but DJ gives us a middle infielder that we can slot in, and yeah, I can play all over the field. So going to complete this. Going to utilize these last 2 years that we kind of have a good amount of money to spend before guys start making a bunch. So yeah, DJ will slide in. We have plenty of 40-man room. I've really micromanaged this to, you know, only have guys on here that we really need. So yeah, DJ will slot in as our backup infielder. I'll set all this, but off camera. But yeah, we'll probably go into the international signings, see who we get. We've talked to a bunch of guys, but it doesn't look like we have a strong relationship with a ton. So I might go quantity over quality here. I don't know yet, but yeah, we'll look at this and then get back to you guys when that's all set and done. All right, so I meant to do this update a couple of days ago, but I got in this bidding war for Scott Efros for some reason. They drove me up to 3.5 mil, but we signed him. Kind of one of the smaller moves we made. Small updates, I guess, to the international free agents. So this guy, hold on. Where the heck was this? So this guy, initially, Edgar Solares, he was one of the top guys I wanted. He eventually, let's see. Yeah, he eventually got another offer from Detroit, so I upped mine. I wound up signing him. In addition to Frank Contos, who's a pretty nice middle infield prospect, and this guy Luis Medina, who is my top pitcher, I guess. So 3-pitch guy. So I get 3 guys, and that was helped a lot by making that deal for that extra money. So we were left over with about $70K, I think, which I didn't wind up using. But yeah, kind of crazy what you're able to do this year in the international free agent pool when you have enough money. So when I'm getting 3 guys. So last year I think I blew it all on one because I didn't know what I was doing, and I kind of played it a little differently this year. I didn't see anything about it, but yeah, just in case anyone is curious, I didn't know if that's a well-known thing this year, but you can get like multiple guys, so pretty cool. Scott Efros, we can add to our active roster, and we'll probably sim up to the beginning of the season, we're going to have a little bit of a roster crunch, I think. If everyone stays healthy, Cole Henry probably won't make the team. We'll see. But yeah, that'll be it, I think. I don't really. We'll sum up the spring to spring training here, and see what happens at that point. But I think we're pretty much set to go. I love how this team looks. Probably one of like the happier I've ever been with an offseason and how it went, and how our future looks. I didn't go out and get a big time outfielder. I probably could have after I forgot to mention this. Our owner increased our budget. So it went up from 207 mil to 220, which pushes us way up to 14th. I went and didn't spend that money on any free agents, but I boosted our development by 8 mil and our scouting by 2. And I don't have anything allotted for international free agents at the moment, just because, that I can do that in the off season. The draft budget's a little low. I don't know what we're usually slotted for, but we're going to have a late pick this year. But yeah, our revenue is expected to be way higher. Season tickets are way higher, and I up the ticket price. Our fan interest is pretty high, so things are looking good in Minnesota right now. So spring training has just begun. I'll probably pick up next episode with opening day and then go from there. But I don't know. This might have been a long episode, but thank you for watching. If you made it this far, appreciate it. If you're not subbed, consider doing so, because we're going to have a lot more coming. And thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye.